This is Kristin.
And I'm Steve, and you are listening to Cycling Together, a podcast about all things bikes, riding, and riding together.
This week, we get comments throughout the after an episode, as well as on some of the shorts that I post. And so this week, we're going through them.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be questions, comments, complaints, corrections, and clarifications from past shows.
All right, so a potpourri of all kinds of things that we've done.
That was
nice.
almost alliteration, but Q is questions. So, but before that, you have some news out of the bike shop about some new bikes.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, new bikes. Yeah, so we have the new Intense Spider. Yep. So this was a bike that I was definitely looking forward to. It's a 130 millimeter trail bike, and received phenomenal reviews on Pink Bike. And everybody, I've got one built up now, and everybody who comes in the shop looks at it and goes, "Ooh!" And it is. It looks different than many other bikes out there, and just it's a beautiful bike.
We did get a question. We'll start with the first question or comment, because
Yes.
when we posted something about the fact that you now had the Spider in the shop, somebody said, headset looks like it uses press-in cups instead of fully integrated, which is way better. And I said, huh?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that comment.
Yeah, you replied, but I figured we could talk about it because I
so
didn't know what that means.
The Spider used what's called zero stack. And so a zero stack headset means that the bearings do sit inside the frame, but you press in an aluminum cup into the frame, and then the bearing sits against that aluminum cup.
Okay.
That is in sort of opposed to what's called an IS headset, an integrated headset, where there are no aluminum cups that sit in the frame. The bearing itself basically sits inside the frame, usually on a molded rim, a molded carbon rim or machined aluminum.
Okay.
So it's just more of a case that because you're pressing an aluminum cup, it can add a little bit of strength and longevity to the headset system.
Okay.
It's typically done for more strength. So the lighter the bike, the more cross-country side is going to often have integrated cups, and the more trail side of the bike that's going to have usually pressed-in cups.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you have one, as you said, it's all built up. So you're going to be giving that your own test run over the next couple of weeks.
Correct. I only had one ride on it before all the snow hit.
We have so much snow.
And we have so much snow and so much cold, so it hasn't gone away. So
yes.
The next one is the Allied FITZ. So this is the brand new trail bike from Allied.
They just released it this
past week. Yeah.
Yes.
And so for their mountain bikes, they've only had the BC40, which is a cross country to nobody's really wanting to use this term anymore, but down country.
Yes.
Because it's 120 millimeter travel in the rear and 120 or 130 in the front, whatever you prefer. The FITZ is either 140 140 or 150 150, depending on how you want it.
Oh.
And their approach to this bike has been bikes have gotten, especially these longer travel bikes, have gotten bloated. And they have. So they wanted to go back to where are the 26, 27 pound trail bikes. And that's what they were looking for.
So this is for to bring it into the environment maybe I'm a little more familiar with, which is the Scott environment, right? We had the Genius that I rode.
Yep.
And then that became a heavier, in its next iterations, that became a heavier bike.
Yes.
Right. And to the point that we were like, oh, the Genius is not the right bike for me anymore because it is more travel than I need. It's more weight than I need.
Right.
So is the FITZ kind of closer to that old Genius?
Way closer to that older Genius.
Okay.
Which was very, very similar between the two bikes.
Yeah.
You know, your old Genius at the time, Fox had a 34 millimeter Fox 34 fork that went to 150 millimeter. They don't even make that anymore. You had to go to the 36.
Oh, okay.
So the fork gets heavier. people are tending to do a little bit more things on their bike. So sometimes they're thinking, and they upped it to 160 in the front on the new Scott Genius.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, now we're pushing enduro territory. Let's make everything a little bit beefier type of situation. And so it just got heavier.
Yeah.
And, and so it's actually rare now to see a trail bike under 30 pounds.
Because I remember at the time that that when I had that Genius, it was a very popular choice at the bike shop.
Yeah, very.
Right?
It was definitely my most popular choice.
Yeah,
Yep.
And now I would say it is not.
Right.
That it's more the Spark or the
yeah,
BC,
and in
or the
fact,
BC40.
Scott doesn't even have the Genius for 2026.
Well, maybe because they realized they went they overcorrected.
This might be a topic for a future show, but there is this perception going on out there in the shop world, in the industry, how longer travel bikes, that market is being taken over by e-bikes. Oh. The people who are looking at those longer travel bikes are just now going to an e-bike. And in often cases, buying the e-bike in long travel, but having a regular cross-country bike.
Okay.
A nice, lightweight, little shorter travel bike.
Right.
So,
but I wonder if it's in part because we got so heavy with the long travel bikes that...
Yeah, well, it blurred the line between their Ransom.
Yes.
So they redid their Ransom as well. And the Ransom is a beautiful-looking bike. It actually looks nicer than the Genius, I think. Their redone Genius.
Well, the current redone Genius...
looks like an e-bike.
So many people ask you. I mean, one of our friends
does.
just asks you to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
But it looks like an e-bike.
It does.
If you're going to have a
It
bike
does. Because they
like
went to the
e-bike.
internal shocks, and the way they did the internal shock on the Genius makes it super fat, whereas on the Ransom, it is not vertical, it's horizontal, and it's just a more slender tube system, so it doesn't quite look like that e-bike.
Yep.
But because the Genius and the Ransom blurred the lines between each other, they just went with the Ransom and then the Spark in terms of...
Right.
Yeah.
I think
got rid of that middle one.
I think it's interesting where Allied is going with the FITZ and the BC40. I mean, I love my BC40 just for its nimbleness and its lightweight. As I've said it on the show before, I'm going the opposite direction of e-bikes, right? I'm trying to lighten my load.
Well, it's also been the case where a lot of bikes out in the market have become more capable than they would otherwise suggest based on their travel. Cross-country race bikes were usually 100 millimeters of travel, and they have gone up to 110, 120.
Yes.
Right? And then there's super capable trail bikes with 120, 130. And so there's a blurred line there now between the ability for some of these shorter travel bikes to really use their travel well and feel like they can do anything.
Right. All right. And so the FITZ, we don't have one, but that is something that is available from you.
Absolutely.
And that comes in 2 stock colors.
Yep. Or any custom color.
Any of the other. What is the purple? Because there's a white one, a green one, and then a purple one that showed up in the press pictures that we were sent. Is that not a stock color?
No,
that's
not
just
a stock color.
That's just an available awesome color.
Right.
That's cool. All right. Yeah. Well, shall we dive into the questions, comments, and clarifications?
All right.
We'll start with an easy one. This actually goes back a bit. We were talking about the rise in counterfeit parts. And the thing that you said was, don't buy any parts off of Amazon or eBay unless you knew who you were buying from.
Right.
And someone commented on TikTok. That's where most of our, if we don't know the person, most of the stranger comments come on TikTok.
The TikTok, yeah.
Said, great. Not going to buy parts on eBay. More used parts for me. So let's talk about eBay as about used parts. Because when we were talking about counterfeit parts, we were talking about
new parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love eBay for used parts.
Okay.
I sell parts on eBay, and I have bought so many other parts on eBay, and in both new and used. But again, with the new, knowing where it's coming from. Oh, it's this shop selling off. Like right now, I am selling off excess used or not new inventory on eBay.
Right.
Stuff that's been sitting in the shop for 3, 4, or 5 years.
Yep. But it's so satisfying when you hear the cha-ching.
Right. So yeah, and I say I'm a shop, and I say I may even give people a purchase receipt, right? Because these are new parts. But no, I've used eBay. I have been on eBay for 29 years now, and been using that. So it's a fantastic way to get parts. I have even gone to eBay for customers to get used parts because there is no new replacement part available. So we have to go find something used.
Yeah.
And I'll and because I've been using eBay for so long, you know how to look at and weed out the sketchy people and what you're looking at and how people describe things, so you know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, even before you had the shop, when we were just starting out as a couple, that's where all of our bikes came from.
Yeah.
You would find me a frame.
Usually it was frames.
Build it up.
And,
you'd find me frames that we could not have afforded
Right.
at the time. I had some really nice bikes that were well above our literal pay grade.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was all because of eBay. So eBay, good source for used parts.
Yeah, and I guess I'll add in their pink bike.
Yes.
So the pink bike buy sell area is great. Right now, as it stands at the moment, I try to sell my parts on pink bike because there's no seller fee.
Oh, okay.
Whereas eBay is just horrendously expensive.
Yes.
But you get.
But it's a
you
bigger
get way more
marketplace.
eyeballs on you get way more eyeballs on eBay than you do.
You get what you pay for in some regards. All right. I actually want to talk about, we had mentioned something on, I think it was just the last episode, about off the wall bike legislation. And we had referred to the New Jersey legislation, but we didn't really talk about it.
Okay.
That legislation has passed.
Yes.
So we did get a question, but before we get to the question, I thought it was worth talking about what the new rules are, the new bananas rules for e-bikes are in New Jersey.
What they consist of?
Yeah.
So it does apply to all classes of e-bikes, which have traditionally been class 1, which is a pedal assist up to 20 miles per hour.
Yep.
Right. Just to clarify, at 20 miles per hour, the motor assist stops. If you want to keep pedaling faster than that, you can. Just the motor assist stops.
Right.
Okay. Then you had class 2, which has a throttle, but also limited to 20 miles per hour. And then class 3 is pedal assist to 28 miles per hour.
And for some context, like my parents ride class 1 pedal assist hybrid e-bikes, step through e-bikes.
Yep.
But this law, which we're going to get into, is in response to the throttle. High power throttle.
And unfortunately, it's
out of
really
class.
In response to the e-motos,
right,
which have become a dangerous situation and should have never been called bikes.
Yes, and that's what we're going to get to the question. So again, new law applies to all bikes regardless of classification.
Right. So,
and the rules are now.
Yep, and you also need to wear a DOT-approved helmet, so basically a motorcycle helmet.
Yes. So my parents could bring their bikes to New Jersey and have to wear a full-face motorcycle helmet. Cool.
You have to have liability insurance.
Yep.
Right? So, and then you have to have a license to ride that bike. So I guess it's for anybody 17 plus, you have to have a driver's license.
Yep.
And then 15 and 16, you have to have a motorized bike license, which doesn't exist, right? So that's something that they're going to have to create.
Not aware that exists yet.
Right.
And anyone under 15 cannot ride them.
Cannot ride it, period.
At all.
Yep.
At all.
But by the way, all of those e-scooters, those stand-up scooters, not in this.
Well, I think that's part of the situation is, as with most things, the laws are going to mostly punish the people who are not my parents, right? They're gonna punish people that are not doing anything wrong,
right? And
the people that are riding these crazy crotch rockets, whatever, e-motos, whatever, are gonna keep riding them, right? The other thing is all e-bikes now need to be registered with the state, and they're waiving the registration and the fees for the first year because none of these systems
None of these
exist yet.
systems-
Like,
yeah.
it's not out of the goodness of their heart. They don't have a system for any of this. Online e-bike sales are banned for a year, and modification kits, which are those kits that are used to take those
Yep.
out of class e-bikes and turn them even faster, those are completely illegal.
Yeah. So
some of
talking
that's
about the
good.
modification kits, a lot of the very inexpensive online e-bikes,
Right.
those were easily modded. So and that's a huge problem. And of course, the kids would figure out how to mod them,
Kids today.
right? And then you're talking about these bikes that can go 50 miles an hour,
Right.
right? And kids not wearing a helmet or wearing. So there is a little bit of controversy here because you're saying we're not wearing a helmet designed to go 50 miles an hour, whereas, well, road cyclists can regularly do 50 miles an hour going downhill. So,
Right. But a child
right.
hitting 50 miles an hour without a helmet is different than an adult road rider making a choice
Right.
to push his or her body to that speed.
Yes.
Could he or she kill themselves? Absolutely. But those are different.
Right.
And that's so the question we got from Martin
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook was, what's the difference between some of these e-bikes and mopeds? And I think there was that video we have mentioned in the past, but it's the throttle that's really causing the problem here.
Yeah. If you've seen any of these sort of e-bikes out there, a lot of these e-bikes, and I'm going to put up the
really
quotation
should be in
marks.
air quotes.
They're
We should not
e-motos.
use the word
they don't.
bike.
They look like a little motorcycle, and they add in pedals just so they can skirt around all other regulations around mopeds
Right.
and motorcycles. They have no adjustable seat. They would
Yep.
be impractical to actually pedal and ride around. They're not designed for that. They're designed to twist the throttle and go.
Well, that guy from Burn Park, who's the guy who does all
Yeah,
who did all this-
Seth. Yep.
Seth, yeah. I mean, he tried riding one of them as a bike, and he was like, I can't pedal it. It keeps hitting the kickstand. Like the pedals are decorative. And he's the one who really opened my eyes to say, if throttles, period and stop, were not allowed on a bike, this bike becomes a brick.
Right.
Right? Because
Yes.
it's unrideable. It is
Right.
unusable. So that would have solved, I don't know how you put this genie back in the bottle, but that would solve 99% of the problem, because once a throttle's on it, it wouldn't be a bike.
I think there's going to be this is going to be a nightmare to implement, and I think there's going to be just massive pushback on this. So I can see a change and a modification to the law coming. Now, when you have a law like this, you worry about other states looking at it and going, "Oh,
Yes.
let's do that."
Yes.
Right. But it's you're right. I do think just get rid of throttles. You don't need a throttle on a bike.
Yeah.
So pedal assist is fine, because in many cases you just need to turn the pedals, right? And then you get that boost. You don't have to put really much effort into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it could still have the speed. It could still have... This is where I would love to see the National Bicycle Dealers Association use some of their legislative power to work with bike manufacturers to say, or whoever it would be, to say, let's get rid of the throttle. If we get rid of the throttle, we fix a variety of problems. And then, but back to Martin's point, that's what they're trying to solve for. The fact is, all of us should stop using the words e-bike for anything that does not look like what you and I agree is a bicycle. If it looks like it belongs in RoboCop, then not a bike.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
That is a e-moto, an out-of-class vehicle, I don't care what you call it. Just stop using the word
bike.
Right? And when there are accidents, our media has to stop using the word in an e-bike crash when the person was riding a e-moto.
Right.
So it's kind of on us, I think, also to call out the media to say, in the past, you would see a headline. I would see a headline that would say, rider killed by car. And it became a trend for many of us to go to that and comment, nope, rider killed by driver in car. And so I think it's going to be the same, where we are going to have to just start commenting on things to say on e-moto, on e-scooter, not bike, not a bike.
Not a bike.
Very sad, not a bike, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about dork discs.
We did talk about dork discs, I thought. Do we have a comment on that?
Yeah. Well, I actually had a question. Well, we had a couple people who were like, one said that she nearly broke her bike recently trying to get the dork disc off, but that she had never thought about the environmental impact of all that plastic. And she actually thanked us for bringing that up. And then one of our friends asked, were they more theoretically useful in the days before component makers started making dish-shaped cogs that sit inboard of the straight cogs? With a 12-speed or 13-speed cassette, there isn't as much space between the spoke and the biggest cog. But back in the day, capitalized, there could have been a bigger gap. We should take a cue from the old AOL CD days, when people used to collect and send all the unasked for and unwanted promotional CDs back to AOL. Steve and other shops should send boxes, crates, pallets of dork discs to the Consumer Safety Bureau and say, turn these off. But were they ever actually useful?
No.
Okay.
So
that was a long question. That was a long comment for me to ask that question.
Right. And again, it is a situation where they are useful when your derailleur is not properly set up, and that it can throw the chain off the top. And I know what this person's saying about there are cogs nowadays that sit a little higher above when they used to and closer to the spokes.
Okay.
But there's still space there. But the chains got narrow at the same time. So there's still space there for the chain to get up and down in there. So they're not needed.
Okay.
I am certain in many cases they have saved somebody from, getting their chain too far jammed in, they couldn't get out.
Right.
The chain can also scrape up the spokes in some cases. I have seen it many times where it's kind of scraped up the spokes a little bit, and I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. This is not the point that I'm worried about the spokes.
Yeah.
But if your derailleur is set up right, it will never throw it off. What traditionally happens is that somebody bends their derailleur hanger, and when you bend your derailleur hanger, you were bending it in because your bike has fallen over and gotten knocked.
Yes. Yep.
And then now when you go to shift to that largest cog, it throws it off the top because the low limit screw is not
right.
set up for a bent derailleur.
I feel like if it was that essential of a piece, it wouldn't be made with such craptacular plastic, because they ultimately break.
Well, they do ultimately break. Yes.
I'm saying, like, if it was that important, it wouldn't be plastic that cracks when you look at it wrong.
Well, back in the day, they were actually metal.
See, yes, there you go.
They were a big metal disc, right? And now, yes, they come loose, so then they start rattling around. Sometimes, actually, they are, as this person said, because the upper cog the largest cog is so close to the spokes. Sometimes when you're in that largest cog, the chain is actually rubbing the plastic dork disc, right? Yeah, exactly. So
that actually reminds me, another little thingy on the wheel is the little plastic covers that go on top of your tire.
Your Presta-Caps?
Nozzle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was taking a clinic once from cyclocross, and took the little plastic off, and then I did the Presta, and I started to put the plastic piece back on, and the professional racer who was leading it took them, went wing, threw it away on me, said, "You don't need these. Do I need those?"
The caps on valves. Okay. So
that is a total question you did not know I was going to ask.
There was definitely a time where, especially for road riding, we did not use them.
Okay.
And of course, when you go back into the real weight weenie days, yes, that's That is 0.1 grams. We got to get rid of that, right?
Yeah.
So no, there was a time when I didn't put them on and so forth. And now in the age of tubeless, to me, if you have a tubeless tire, you should always run it, because there is typically just a small amount of tubeless fluid residue on the core of the Presta valve, and that attracts dirt, and so the core will get gunkier quicker if you don't have the cap on.
Okay. So back in the day when I was...
need it though?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. No. So back in the day when I was cyclocross racing, and I don't think we were tubeless yet.
No, we were not back. No, not at the beginning.
She was right. Like, she just was like, this is just a piece you're going to lose.
Right.
But now you would recommend them because plus they could be pretty.
Yeah, well, and that's also the other thing is that many people now have colored ones, so it's kind of just a little bit of bling.
Yeah, these were clear plastic, if I remember correctly. They weren't.
Well,
anything.
They
weren't
traditionally they're black,
special.
but they also make clear ones.
Yeah,
yeah.
They weren't anything special at the time. Okay. All right. Let's talk about mountain bike tires. This is from, I put a question into the STBG Insiders and asked if anybody had a question while we were doing questions and stuff.
Okay.
And Jeff asked, there are so many mountain bike tire choices. For New England recreational cross-country /trail, how should you think about tire width, pattern, and flat resistance?
Oh, this could be a whole show. So this is funny. So for a lot of shop people, and then for a lot of non-shop people who are just into this, there is definitely the grass is always greener with another tire. So we are always trying out different tires. And then you tend to forget in some regards about how that tire was 3 treads ago that you were using, right? So
what you're saying is you need to keep a journal, kind of like a wine tasting journal, but a tire trying journal.
You know what? I hadn't thought about that, but you were absolutely right. You were 100%. You should if you're the kind of person who is the grass is always greener. Let me try a different tire. Let me see if this one's different. Yes, you should keep a journal.
Because a year later, you're trying the tire you tried a year ago, and you're like, this one's magic.
So yeah, right. I go back and forth, and like I really love the feel of fast tires.
Yes.
So your cross-country race tires, your Maxxis Aspen type of situation, and was there like Barzo, I guess it is, and Race King, which is so anyway. The Schwalbe Rick XC, that kind of thing.
Okay.
They just roll so fast that the bike it just makes the bike feel great on the trail. But because you have lower traction, depending on your conditions and so forth, they can take a little bit more control, finesse, experience, right? But if you have that, then you sort of know how to find the traction with them, and they're great.
I remember when you switched me to the Aspens. Which one did you switch?
I had a set of Aspens off of one of my bikes. So it's like the first thing I put on your bike.
Right. Which lightened up the weight quite a bit.
Yes, they're also light.
Right.
Yep.
So lightened up the weight quite a bit. But you said to me, you might feel like you've lost out a little traction.
Yes.
A little control. And maybe I felt that around some corners. Like if I was going really fast.
Depends on the type of rider you are, right?
But it wasn't, I was grateful for the weight loss. Because I did feel like I felt that. And I did feel like they were rolling faster, you know? So it turns out a bit of a weight weenie myself now. Okay.
Yeah, and there can be easily a pound between a cross-country tire and a trail tire per tire. Right. And because that's on the outside of your wheel, that you definitely feel that. Now when I say I go back and forth. Then I've also used much chunkier trail tires with technically a lot of traction to punch through into the softer dirt and through leaves and so forth. And then I went to so there's different compounds, and the thing is a lot of times it's not necessarily the tread pattern and the chunkiness of the knobs that are giving you the traction. And this is the problem with talking about this is it's so dependent on where you ride and then the conditions on where you ride and the season of which it is.
Right.
But so a lot of times it's the rubber compound.
Oh.
And that's what gives you a lot of attraction that you're looking for.
Okay.
So there are, and nowadays you'll see, depending on the brand, like Schwalbe, you'll see they have soft and ultra soft and so forth. So I will go with the softest compound up front because I want that high traction cornering, and especially on roots and rocks, which we have a lot of around here.
Yes.
Right. And then a lower tread pattern and a firmer rubber compound in the rear, which I don't necessarily need as much. And the thing is if your back tire washes all out a little bit, you usually don't go down. You just, I slipped a little bit in the back, right? So it depends on how acceptable you are in the feel.
So you're actually saying sometimes you want to mix and match. You want to have.
Well, it's very common to mix and match your front and your rear.
Okay.
I mean, so to not have the same tread pattern front and rear is super common.
Oh.
There's nothing wrong with it. But having different rubber compounds front and rear is also a big thing.
Okay.
So even like many stock bikes will come with a softer compound up front and a firmer compound out rear. This is right from the companies.
Can you have is it the same? Like, is it use the Aspen, right? Can you get the Aspen in different rubber compounds or they're just different?
So the Aspen, no, actually.
But
so the Aspen has what's called the Maxxis 3C compound, which is actually a triple rubber compound, and they change the rubber compound based on the sidewalls to the middle to the center, and so that rubber compound changes.
Okay. But other models you could get different?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone, if someone were to ask you, well, I'm going to ask you, like, what's the most popular mountain bike tire you sell out of the shop for, say, Spark style bikes?
I'm actually a bad person to ask for that.
Okay.
And
you can say there isn't.
The only reason is because I actually don't sell a lot of tires.
Okay.
Tires have been something that I think a lot of people have gone online for. So I don't get a lot of requests for tires.
Okay. But do you see any trends then on what people are riding?
Well, it's typically something mid tread pattern, I'm going to call it.
Okay.
So not necessarily the cross country, right? And not necessarily something like the Maxxis DHF DHRs. Ooh, speaking of DHRs. So I have ridden the Minion DHF, which is technically for the front tire, and the DHR is the rear, but you can.
Oh, really?
You can.
Okay.
So you'll find riders who, I like the DHF front and rear, or I like the DHF on the rear, and that kind of thing. I have ridden the DHF. It's not to my liking, but I had a demo bike which had 2 DHRs, front and rear. And this was late fall before the winter hit. And I went out on that bike and I said, what is wrong with this bike?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Those tires, and I was like, it has to be the tires, right? Because I am pushing so hard and going nowhere. And there was nothing rubbing, wasn't brake drag or anything. Those tires are pigs. And now technically the DH stands for downhill, right? But this is a popular tire for people who just use for trail riding.
Yeah.
This is why I say it makes such a difference on how your bike feels based on the rubber compound and the tread compound.
Right.
So those tires are so slow.
Interesting. With tires, you can put them on backwards.
Yes, a lot of, in fact, for mountain bike tires, almost all of them have a directional side, and they make it as hard as possible. It's actually in the rubber mold, and sometimes only on one side. So you're searching the sidewall. If you don't know, like for a lot of shop people, we can look at the tread pattern. It goes this way, right?
Okay.
But if you're not sure and you don't know, then you really have to hunt for that arrow that says rotate. It'll usually say rotation and give you a little arrow.
Does that make a difference?
It actually, you know what? It makes more of a difference.
Okay.
Not necessarily on traction, but on steering. So that's where it can actually make more of a difference. Funny enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
You posted a photo the other day of you had successfully pulled out a piece of dried tubeless fluid in one complete circle. And you were in the comments saying the reason you're refreshing it, right? So why do I have to refresh my tubeless fluid?
Well, depends on your tubeless fluid, but tubeless fluid generally dries up, or the effective material in it becomes less effective.
Yep.
So that's why. Now, my favorite orange seal, because that has such a high latex content, which is what I peeled out, was basically a big ring of dried up latex.
It's very satisfying.
It's very satisfying. So that dries up in your tire.
Yes.
Right. And depending on how you use it, like so when I can take it out in one big ring like that, because it was basically a skin that was coating the inside of the tire. That is somebody who likely used their bike very frequently after the last refresh. Okay. If you use your bike less frequently, I might find what I call pucks.
Slug.
Yeah, slug. Because it had been sitting for longer. And so you have these spots where just sort of the puddle that had been sitting dries up.
Yep. How much did that weigh?
75 grams, that was. Which is significant.
Yeah. I mean,
and I've seen more.
I have had where I'm riding, say, a bike that I haven't ridden for a while. It's tubeless. And you can almost feel the slug because it's settled and it hardened, and you're like,
that will unbalance the wheel.
Yeah. Where you're
so
like,
you'll feel it more
I need a little.
This
needs some love.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So though with that skin of certainly orange seal, right?
Yes.
I could tell it was a heavy skin. Okay. Right, and it was probably multiple applications of orange seal. So they had
refreshed it. Maybe you put it in fresh, and then it got topped off a couple of times.
Right.
Yep.
So if it's a very thin skin, I tend to leave that as almost a protection layer. And here's the thing you have to be careful about, because when I took that skin out, and I think I showed, like the tire was brand new inside, right? It just comes like completely. It was as clean as could be on the inside of the tire carcass. So then when I went to, I put new sealant in, and inflated it, and there was a tiny pinhole leak in the middle of the tread, which had been plugged by that skin. So sometimes you have to be careful. Now it instantly sealed with the new refresh. Yep. But
that's so funny.
Be careful in that that skin might actually have plugged up a bunch of holes that you had.
Right.
Yeah.
It's doing its job.
And it would not hurt to just put new sealant in there and leave that whole skin. You're just adding weight.
Yes.
In his case, because it was fairly even all the way around, he wasn't really unbalancing the wheel.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Zwift.
Oh, boy.
Zwift 101. We have 3 things.
Okay.
Nope. Actually, 4 things. Mm-hmm. Let's start with, I'm going to jump around a little bit, but let's start with Chris. He's actually talking about trainer setup. So, like you guys, my old road bike is on the trainer. It has a Shimano 105 2x10 drivetrain. My trainer is an old hammerhead with a direct mount cassette. The trainer cassette and the cassette on the rear wheel are slightly different, so well-adjusted gears that are smooth as silk on the road become a horrible grinding mess when the bike is on the trainer. The trainer always applies resistance even if it's unplugged, so I can't spin the cranks and make gear adjustments like I would if the bike were on a stand with a wheel. How do you adjust the derailleurs when the bike is on the trainer?
Okay, so There can be very, very slight, millimeter difference between the relative location of your cassette on the wheel of your bike to the cassette on your trainer, if we're wheel-off trainers, right? So that's why if your shifting is good on your bike on the road with your wheel on and you move it to the trainer, the shifting can be slightly off and clicky. And that's basically what he's talking about here. So you need to adjust it between the two. He is correct. I think I actually made a comment to Chris about work out his arms so he can turn the pedals more. Yeah. So all right. So it can actually be very difficult to turn the pedals along the side by hand. You're not on the bike, on your trainer. Yeah. Certainly to a speed that you can then adjust it. So this is where you would want to add in, depending on what bike you have on the trainer, sometimes you'll have a down tube barrel adjuster, or you can add an inline cable adjuster. And so this is where it can be helpful to add that into your bike so you can actually be on the bike riding and spinning the pedals and then make the adjustments. Yeah. And noise is always your friend here to make the adjustments. Oh. So, and what I mean by that is you're listening for the sound. That's how one of the best ways to make the adjustment. So you start turning the barrel and you're like, oh, it's getting clickier. Okay, go the other way. And then you'll hear it smooth out. Okay. Right? And that's typically the best way. But adding in using the down tube barrel adjusters or adding in an inline adjuster to the cable would be the way to do that then.
All right. Continuing on the theme of hardware and equipment from Doug. I know the Zwift Focus podcast talked about checking your handlebars for sweat corrosion. Also, check your saddle clamp and bolts. I had a Zwift crash this morning when my bolt popped, launching the saddle and me to the floor. Cause was clearly excessive butt sweat. For the record, I did get permission to share this as long as I use the words butt sweat. Yeah, so this is really, there's nothing more to say about that, but just check. We focused a lot on the handlebars.
We do.
The sweat. And we didn't talk about the fact.
Look for corrosion all over your bike because you do sweat all over your bike.
Yes. Yep. Although you say that, and I said yesterday, we should check my seat post, and you said what?
You're fine.
Do as we say, not as we do. It'd be great when I fall off the bike. I will say what was really funny about this was I went to, I was at PMC Winter Cycle on Saturday. And Doug was supposed to be there, but he ended up having the flu. And so I'm standing there waiting for my session to start. And somebody walks up to me and he's like, "Did you hear? Doug fell off of his indoor bike." I was like, "What are you talking about?" So he was already the talk of like it's a very small industry. It's a very small community in cycling, right? So happily he was not hurt. All right, let's dig into a couple of things about Zwift specifically. Yep. We had a short reel. We were talking about how you earn drop points, and then you use those to buy equipment and gear. And somebody commented, it's not somebody we know, "Nice move to squeeze more money out of the average user. Style is fine, but to implement real world physics just to then make you buy stuff."
Right.
Seems, and I get it. It sounded like they were nickel and diming us.
Yes.
Clarify.
Okay. So we did clarify to this person online.
We did clarify to this person online, and I changed the caption on a couple things.
Yeah. Drops is basically, I don't know, you might want to call it Zwift bucks, right?
Yes.
You earn them by riding. It is a reward for riding more. You do not pay for these.
You earn a lot of them. And I have millions of
millions.
Drops.
Yeah, yep. And well, when they introduced drops, all of the sort of legacy users at that point got this massive drop bonus.
Oh.
Right, and it was, I think I got 4 million drops.
Right.
When they introduced it. So it's distance based. And so you're like, well, what if I'm going uphill? I'm not going as fast. They give you more drops while you're going uphill.
Yes.
And so the little drop icon will flash while you're going uphill and you're earning more faster.
Yes.
So Yes, this is just incentive to ride. You do not spend any more money in Zwift other than your monthly fee.
Because you get,
period.
you get those drop points.
Yes.
You then go into the drop shop.
Yes.
You can use those points, no other real money.
No other real money.
To buy.
And you can't use real money.
there's no mechanism for it's not like
by the way, Zwift, thank you. Thank you for not becoming one of these video
Dragon
games where you're constantly like, oh, you can, hey, $2 and you can buy this jersey and right. And okay.
Yeah, no. And it's not, it's, you can buy bikes, you can buy wheels. We did talk about it making some small differences.
Yes.
But some of it is just fun. Like I have my garage and I have all these cool bikes in there. And, so yes, to clarify on that, it's monthly fee.
And that is it.
That is it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right.
Where are we next?
And hopefully for the last time
my
life.
Yep.
Let's talk about Erg Mode. Now, hold on. Let's set the stage here.
Yes.
So as I said, I've been making these little reels. I put them out onto the interwebs. And so the one I put out was where you said quite definitively how much you hate Erg Mode.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about this, as I said before, is TikTok is where we usually get a lot of our comments, but you really ticked off the Instagram people. We got almost equally Instagram to TikTok comments.
Yes.
Comments like, tell me you're old and can't learn new technology without telling me. He lied about his FTP. Please learn how to use it properly before saying things on the internet. Ha, this guy isn't very smart. The proverb, a bad workman blames his tools. He just doesn't know how to use Erg Mode. I think you're the problem. Dude, it's not a death spiral. The workout demands 250 watts, for example. If you can't give 250 watts, you can't complete the workout. That's not calibration. You aren't fit enough. So you're either out of shape, out of touch.
Yeah.
So, would you like to
respond?
Would you like to respond or retract or correct?
I can correct and clarify.
So
that's what this episode's all about?
This is where we're going to clarify.
Okay.
Or
so
confess.
What?
Should I add confess? Because I think you have to confess something.
That this was years and years and years ago?
When was the last time you tried Erg Mode?
6 or 7 years ago.
I could kill you because if I had known that,
Yeah.
I never would have put that video up. Now, granted, you've gotten a lot of new followers, and that video has been viewed like 6,000 times.
That's how you do it, right? You have to shock people, and you have to be controversial.
I guess so. But I never would have put you up for that kind of criticism if I had known you were working off of old information.
So for probably 2 years,
yes,
it just would not work for me. And it was not a case where I'd go on a ride and at some point in the ride, I would have we'll call it the death spiral, right? Where I couldn't turn the pedals anymore.
Yeah.
It was almost immediate upon like maybe a first big, massive change in wattage that was supposed to be. And that's why I almost said it was unusable.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hopefully I said I think it was software related. Now, this is one of those cases. Yes, technology changes. It was more, but it was a few years, right, of problems. So it was like fool me once, fool me twice. At what point do I give up? And I gave up, and I don't really need Erg Mode.
Well, I think that
was,
I think from the comments too, we had a whole set of comments from people that are using Erg Mode outside of Zwift. Right. And so they would say things like Erg Mode is great for when I just want to turn off my brain and watch a movie.
Not talking about that.
We don't do that.
No.
And this is just the internet. Let's be clear. I have a minute to put whatever it is you are saying. So even though we were very clear it was Zwift, I had a picture. There were those people, right? There definitely was a whole set of people that just were, and there were a lot of people that did explain without calling you a ding dong or an idiot or telling you to STFU, which was one of my favorite, like such passion, why they liked it. And I thought those were interesting explanations. And it really did all come back to, I want to make sure my workout is consistent. I want to turn off my brain. I don't.
So
that's
exactly what I don't want to do on Zwift. The only reason I like the trainer is because of Zwift.
Yes.
And the reason then I like Zwift is because my brain is firing for all that data and everything going on. Otherwise I couldn't do it. Yes. The thing is that yes, technology changes, and I remember at the time like going through the firmware updates on my trainer. What is wrong? What is wrong? This was clearly a situation of Zwift talking to my trainer and the two of them not liking each other.
Yep.
And so I have tried it again recently and I have not had the problem.
Yes.
Right?
So you went back, you got on the trainer.
It's a different trainer actually too.
After all these comments, you did go back downstairs and you tried Erg Mode with the mindset of, I'm going to see what everybody's talking about.
Yes.
Right? So kudos to you to not being like, they're all dummies.
Now,
the internet's dumb.
The internet is still full of people who have this problem. And when this came up, I had a customer come in who asked me about this problem he had just had. So this is not something that doesn't exist out there still.
Yeah. We did get people come in and say, I hate Erg Mode. Erg Mode is stupid. They were definitely in the minority. But again, I think they were partially in the minority because you're going to come into this thread of people talking about what a dummy Steve is for not liking Erg Mode and say, well, I have the problem too. So then you are also going to be told you're a Luddite who doesn't, know how to use things. Like that's not going to... So I do think there are people, somebody just commented, that's the other thing about this. They keep coming. The comment, usually social media, it's up and it's down, right? We get a couple of comments 2 days later. I posted that thing like 3 weeks ago and I think we got a comment yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. So because as you said, this is how social media works, right? We're feeding the algorithm. They see people are responding to it. So the good news is, you don't think it's as much of a problem?
Well, no. Like I didn't have.
He tried it once. It didn't. Break.
Yeah, and it didn't do it. Right. So I mean, that's only once. But again, it was immediately a problem in the past.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And I did realize that was with a different my first tax trainer.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And I still think it is a tool. The ones who were polite and explaining why they liked it, each time I thought, yeah, Steve's not going to want this. Like he's not the kind of right. And I too don't want that. That's why I do Zwift and I don't watch a movie, right? Like I don't necessarily want the turn off my brain now there are other reasons for it, the managing your workout. And there are times in a workout where it will say to you, turn off Erg Mode. Like you're about to do something that Erg Mode is not going to help you with. So I think the software has also gotten smarter about talking to you and instructing you when to use it and when not to use it. So I will say the internet continues to astound with just the passion. I also laughed at anybody who was like, this guy, right? It's like this guy on his social media, like who's this guy? I don't know. So, all right. I think those were all the questions and the comments and concerns.
That can't be everything, can it?
That was all I found as I kind of dug through things. There was one more. Somebody was saying, it was about, we were talking about if Lycra had, if Lycra was ruining mountain biking, right? Or like people
oh my gosh, yes, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
and one comment a woman said, she's like, I don't really see Lycra. I mostly see baggies out there, and I wanted to respond, that's because it's under. Like, yes, when I'm wearing my baggies, I'm wearing Lycra under, but also I think it's the difference between the casual group ride and the racing, right? So if we're out on a casual group ride, baggies.
Mm-hmm.
If we're racing,
Lycra. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I think that's the other idea is on a more casual ride, but I'm still wearing Lycra. Yeah. It's just under my baggies because
I think this needs
girlfriend needs
I think
protection.
This needs reiterating just in terms of the mountain bike scene. and our preference, which I think is actually really useful for people because that's some things they don't realize. We are big fans of, and we're not the only ones. There are so many professionals out there who are big fans of wearing Lycra bib shorts with your chamois pad as your base, and then you have baggy shorts on top, and you have whatever jersey you want on top of that.
Yes,
it is very, very comfortable and very, very great for mountain biking. So if you're not doing that, then I suggest trying it.
Yeah, because I mean, the Lycra gives you the comfort, the wicking,
and the support.
The baggy protects the Lycra, right, from rocks and roots and thorns.
Yep.
Gives you some pockets.
Yep.
And I will say it should every now and then, when you have a new rider, they'll say, but no underwear? No underwear.
And
right?
no underwear.
Or let me put it a different way. The Lycra is your underwear.
Right.
Right.
There are baggy shorts that you can get with built-in pads. Those do not stay against your skin properly.
Exactly.
They have gotten a little better, supposedly. Still, the way to go is the Lycra bib short with pad under your
and they
baggy
get washed
shorts.
every time, right? That's why I say, it's not that you're not wearing underwear. That's your underwear.
Yeah, that's your underwear.
Right? So I know there can be some confusion, especially amongst newer riders.
And they make bib shorts now specifically designed to go under. So you're not supposed to wear that by yourself. You
would be running around in your underwear.
because they have like open mesh down the sides. So they're supposed to be very,
thinner.
very breathable, very hot weather type of stuff. They're they're a little thinner. They don't want you wearing them just as a normal Lycra short by itself. They want you wearing it underneath your baggies.
I will say, this is where we store. I will say...
Kristen's pulling out a set of baggies from the dresser behind us.
No, these are Lycra. I don't have those. And in the summer, I will say, wearing standard Lycra shorts under baggies can be hot. And there have been times, there was a woman's ride that I was wearing a full bib short underneath my baggies, and I think it was 90 degrees out. It was a really hot day, and I stripped in the middle of I took the baggies off and rolled them up and put them in my fanny pack because that was a lot of layers. So maybe we have to look into a couple of those very thin ones.
I have lightweight thin
Oh,
ones.
do you?
I do, yeah.
Do you have lightweight?
I do.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah. That was an interesting discovery. All right. Well, I think we're not even going to take a break. We're going to go straight into wrapping this up.
Okay.
Because we got places to go and people to see.
We do.
Right? All right. Cycling Together with Kristin and Steve is a production of Steve the Bike Guy, an independent bicycle shop in Eastern Massachusetts, and Sundin Marketing.
If you like the show, please leave a review or share with a friend. For show notes, links, or to leave a comment, question, or topic suggestion, please visit cyclingtogether.bike.
You can follow the shop and the show on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Leave your comments, questions, complaints.
Yep, maybe it'll be in a future episode.
And maybe it'll be in a future episode. Thank you for joining the ride.
Great, see you next time.